Hey guys, I'm doing well today. It's in my Super Rugby Dream team for round 8 in New Zealand and round 5 in Australia. When deciding these teams, I base it off two things. One, their influence within the game, as well as their statistics. So, at number 1, I've selected Cameron Orr from the Rebels. I thought he was pretty impressive for them throughout the match. He had 1 try assist, 4 runs, 9 run meters, 7 out of 8 tackles, 1 turnover, and he had 1 offload. So yeah, he was definitely all over the place. He was very impressive, particularly within that scrum. The Rebels were pretty good within that scrum most of the time, and he was, big in that occasion, you could say. And yeah, no, he was just overall solid for the Rebels, and the Rebels were very impressive within that game as well. So yeah, just thought he was a solid player throughout that match. So moving on to number 2, I've selected Falau Faanga. He was one of the contenders, you could say, for MVP, for my MVP of the week. He had 2 tries, 9 runs, 9 run meters, 7 out of 8 tackles, 1 turnover, and he had 1 offload. So yeah, no, it's just normal to see, him be, scoring tries as usual. I think he's now scored in 6 matches in a row now, which is very impressive. He's one of, I think, arguably the best try scorer in a hooker position, I think, currently, who still plays in Super Rugby. That might be wrong, but I think that is the case. I mean, he is one of the best try scoring hookers there is. I mean, he constantly scores to the rugby, so yeah, fair play to him. He did get 2 tries, so yeah, he's just adding on to that tally, really. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to number 3, I've selected Opportunal Fassi from the Blues. I thought he'd put up an impressive performance, really. He had 1 try, 5 runs, 1 run meter, 4 out of 4 tackles, and he had 2 turnovers. Yeah. No, definitely all over the place, as I said, for Cameron Orr. He did help the Blues, especially within that scrum. The Blues were definitely better within that scrum this week compared to last week's game against the Chiefs. So yeah, he definitely helped within that area. And yeah, he did get a try early on. I think it was he got a try. I think it was late into the first half. He got his try. So yeah, fair play to him. He does get a lot of tries recently for the Blues. So yeah, he's just continuing that form, really, and just cementing his position within that free role for the All Blacks, maybe. We'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, moving on to number 4, I've selected Sam Whitelock for the Crusaders. He was very impressive, and he was playing under his 150th cap for the Crusaders, so even more, you could say, pressure or for him to do well within this week. But yeah, no, he stood out. He really stood out. He had 10 runs, 9 run meters, 11 out of 12 tackles, 1 turnover. He won 6 lineouts, and he had 1 lineout still. So yeah, he's definitely just showing that he still has what it takes to be an All Black. And yeah, no, he's pretty impressive within that lineout. I mean, you can see he won 6 of them, and he had 1 lineout still. Yeah, that's one area of his game where he's particularly impressive, and that I've always liked about him. And yeah, no, you can also see he had good tackles within there with 11 out of 12. So yeah, he was definitely all over the place. So, moving on to number 5, I've selected Fergus Lee Warner from the Western Force. The Western Force, to be fair, they put up a good performance, really, definitely from last week's, where they had nil points against the Brumbies. So they're definitely a lot better this week, with at least scoring some tries and some points. I mean, that try with Brian Ralston, even though he's not my team here, that was a very well worked try, from the scrum. So yeah, anyway, let's move on to Fergus. With Fergus Lee Warner, he had 1 try as well. He had 13 runs, 40 run meters, 17 out of 17 tackles, and 1 turnover, and he won 2 lineouts. So yeah, that's exactly what I want to see for if I had a lock. You win some lineouts, tackle percentage should be straight up good. 17 out of 17, that's pretty impressive. And yeah, he got a try as well, so just added on to his good form. So, moving on to number 6, I've selected Shannon Frizzell from the Highlanders. He was one of the only few Highlanders players who really stood out within that match against the Blues. He did get 1 try, he had 7 runs, 18 run meters, he had 13 out of 14 tackles, 1 turnover, 1 defender beaten, and he won 5 lineouts. So yeah, he was definitely useful for the Highlanders, you could say. And yeah, he did get a try late on within the match, but he's just proving it once again that he should be selected within the All Blacks setup. And personally, I think he should be the All Blacks number 6. I think he's put his hand up too many times to not be included. And to be frank, I think he is the best 6 that New Zealand has at the moment. I could be saying a lot because you do have the likes of Lachlan Boucher and all that. He's been impressive throughout this Super Rugby competition, but yeah, Shannon Frizzell just edges it for me. And yeah, he definitely deserves to be within this dream team. So, moving on to number 7. The only Chiefs player I've selected is Sam Cane. He had 5 runs, 7 run meters, 24 out of 27 tackles. He had 3 turnovers, and he had 1 offload. So, yeah, no, he was very impressive defensively, you could see, with 24 out of 27 tackles and 3 turnovers. Yeah, he was... he definitely helped the Chiefs defensively. And, I mean, when you're going against the Crusaders, you're going to tackle a lot. It's kind of expected. And Sam Cane, even though he's received a lot of criticism, over his selection, you could say, over being selected as captain for the All Blacks, he did prove it within that game that he's still a valuable member of that team, and pretty much threw the critics out of the way and just show that he still has what it takes to be and live up to a good All Black captain. So moving on to number 8, the last of the 4-pack, I've selected Harry Wilson from the Reds. The Reds were very unlucky over the weekend against the Brumbies. They did manage to give a penalty within the last seconds of that match and just let it go, which was terrible to watch, really, because I thought the Reds would have won that. But anyway, Harry Wilson did get 1 try. He had 16 runs, 88 run meters. He had 20 out of 23 tackles. He had 1 turnover. He had 1 defender beating, 2 line breaks, and he had 2 offloads. So yeah, he was, out of all the players I've listed so far, has the most all-rounded stats. It's kind of what you expect for a number 8. He was everywhere. 20 out of 23 tackles, good defensively. He had 1 turnover as well, so even better. And he also had 2 defenders beating, 2 line breaks, so you can just tell that he was he was moving people over within that match. And yeah, he got a try as well, which was it was a pretty good try. It was looked back on within TMO, but I think, who was it? I think it was Jordan Batea? I think he did the try assist, and then he just offloaded it to Harry Wilson just to run. But yeah, it was a good try, and he definitely deserves to be within this straight team. So, moving on to the backs. At number 9, I selected Finley Christie from the Blues. I thought this was definitely his best performance so far I've seen from him within a Blues shirt. He had 2 tries, 1 try assist, 6 runs, he had 40 passes, he had 53 run meters, 8 out of 9 tackles, he had 1 line break, and he had 2 offloads. So yeah, all over the place. This is kind of what I expect to see from a scrum half. Definitely to get at least a try assist or a try, and man, he got 2 tries and a try assist, so he definitely deserves to be within the side. And yeah, no, he was pretty impressive throughout the match. He was always within the right place at the right time. Kind of, he was always a supporting player, and yeah, no, he really. He influenced the game. I wouldn't say as much as Bowden, because Bowden, don't get me wrong, he was great with his playmaking, but his kicks were horrible. But Christie, in the same sense, he was good with his playmaking. So, moving on to number 10, my MVP of the week. I've gone with Matt Toomua. This might surprise a few people. He had 11 runs, 17 run meters. He had 12 out of 12 tackles, 1 turnover, 2 offloads, and he kicked two conversions and he had 1 penalty. So yeah, no. Overall, I thought he was very impressive. The reason why I've selected him, out of the other players I could have selected, and don't get me wrong, there's a few players I could have had, Finley Christie, Falafanga, and there's another player I'll mention later on, but yeah, Matt Toomua just edges it for me, because this was probably one of the most near perfect performances I've seen from him so far. He was very impressive, especially with his tackling. If you watch that match, if you focus particularly just on Matt Toomua, I think all of his tackles were bang on perfect. It was bizarre just to see, because normally you don't see a fly-out do as well within those tackling stats. And man, he just reminded me of Johnny Wilkinson back in the day, really, because Johnny was always very good within his tackling, and Matt Toomua definitely demonstrated that within this match. He was good. He was a good, and also he did well with his kicking as well. So, moving on to number 11, I've selected Caleb Clark from the Blues. He had 1 try assist, 10 runs, 66 run meters, 6 out of 7 tackles, 1 defender beaten, 1 line break, and he had 3 offloads. So yeah, kind of what you expect from him, really. He influenced that game heavily. He didn't get a try to his name, but he definitely he got a try assist, which is credit to him, really. He was definitely all over the place, and he created that 1 try with, who was it? It was Finley Christie's try, one of Finley Christie's tries, where Bowden kicked it to him. He just bashed a player in. I think it might have been Scott Gregory, if I'm not mistaken, and then he just offloaded it to Rico, and then Rico passed it to Christie. So no, it was pretty good play from him. He he definitely influenced that match, and he's just able to drag so many players onto him, which just just opens up space for others. So, yeah, no, I was very impressed with him throughout that match. So, moving on to number 12, I started Araya Simone from the Brumbies. Again, he's within this team. He was impressive. He had 14 runs, 36 run meters, 10 out of 12 tackles. He had 2 turnovers, 3 defenders beaten, 3 line breaks, he had 1 offload. So yeah, all over the place again. Kind of what you expect from a center. You could arguably say he's the most improved Australian. I would say he's arguably the most improved Australian player I've seen so far within this comp. Especially, even in Super Rugby as well. But in this comp, I've been very impressed by him. He's definitely stepped up within his performances. And yeah, he didn't get a try to his name like last week, but man, he definitely influenced that game. And yeah, credit to him where it's due, really. So, moving on to number 13, I started Fatuli Playa from the Crusaders. He was pretty impressive, if I have to say so myself. He had 10 runs, 70 run meters, 1-on-1 tackles, which is not the best, but he had 3 defenders beaten and 1 line break. So yeah, he was definitely all over the place. And I chose him. I could have selected between him and Rico, and to be frank, I thought that both of them influenced that game in both those games. But I went with Fatuli just because the way he controlled the game more in a sense of where when he especially with his line break was a long one, and he just gained so many meters with that, and I was pretty impressed by that, and his passing was good throughout the thing as well. He's turning into a good player. I think he's, what is he? Is he a Samoan or Tongan sevens player? I think I might be mistaken about this, but I think he was a Tongan sevens player before. But yeah, no, he's definitely been a great signing for the Crusaders because they recently got him. I think within this competition, it's the first time he's played. So yeah, no, he's definitely impressed me and definitely deserves to be within this team. So moving on to number 13, I selected Jordan Pataya from the Reds. He was very impressive. He did come off the bench for, who was it? Was it Panga? It might have been Panga, I don't know. But no, he was very impressive coming off the bench. He had 1 try assist, 9 runs, 55 run meters, 3 out of 5 tackles, 1 line break, and he had 1 offload. So yeah, no, kind of what you expect from a winger from himself. He did come back from a long injury, and fair play to him. He was pretty impressive throughout that match. He had a few moments where he also had a disallowed try. So he was within that match, and he definitely influenced that game. So yeah, I definitely think he deserves to be within this team for sure. He was, particularly impressive. So moving on to the last player within this dream team, I selected Will Jordan at number 15. It's kind of expected, really. I think he's the player I've selected the most out of all these dream teams so far, and I mean, what can you say? He is the competition's top try scorer, so I guess it kind of evens out. He had 1 try, he got 16 runs, 100 run meters, he had 2 out of 2 tackles, 3 defenders beaten, 3 line breaks, and he had 3 offloads. So yeah, those stats are crazy, first of all. And he was the other contender for MVP, for my MVP of the week. But, man, what he is doing, and the stats that he pulls off as well. He great stats, he definitely influenced that game. And man, he was crazy. I mean, at try, when I saw his try, I actually thought he did a step and then shifted in and put the ball down, but he just broke through. So I was impressed by that, really, because he just he was able to get his feet in position before the ball was passed to him. So yeah, fair play to him. He was definitely influential throughout that match. So that's it with my dream team for today. Hope you guys like the dream team. If you have any changes, just comment below. That'd be great. And yeah, see you next time.